There was a monk who moved slower than everyone else, yet accomplished more than all of them combined. While others rushed from task to task, constantly behind schedule, he walked deliberately, worked mindfully, and never seemed hurried. His garden was the most beautiful. His teachings were the most profound. His presence was the most peaceful. The other monks thought he was lazy. They complained he wasn't pulling his weight. But at the end of each season, undeniably, his results surpassed theirs. How is this possible? How can someone who never rushes accomplish more than those who are constantly running? The answer lies in an ancient Buddhist principle that our modern world has completely forgotten. A teaching so powerful that once you understand it, you'll never approach your work, your goals, or your life the same way again. If you're exhausted from constant hustle, if you're pushing harder than ever, but feeling more stuck than ever, then what I'm about to share could change everything. Stay with me, because the monk's secret isn't what you think. Take a moment right now to subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're diving into ancient wisdom that our modern world desperately needs to remember. In a monastery tucked away in the mountains of ancient China, there lived a monk whose way of being puzzled everyone around him. His name was Master Hui Neng. And while every other monk in the temple rushed from one duty to the next, he moved through his days as if he had all the time in the world. When the morning bell rang, the younger monks would leap from their cushions and race to the meditation hall, competing to arrive first. Master Hui Neng would rise slowly, take a few conscious breaths, and walk to the hall with such deliberate presence that he was often the last to arrive. When it came time to tend the gardens, the other monks would hurry through their sections, eager to move on to the next task. Master Hui Neng would spend what seemed like an eternity with a single plant, observing it, understanding its needs, caring for it with complete attention. The other monks whispered among themselves. They thought he was lazy. They assumed he didn't care about the monastery's work. Some even complained to the abbot that Hui Neng wasn't pulling his weight. But here's what was remarkable. At the end of each season, Master Hui Neng's garden flourished more beautifully than any other. His section of the temple was always cleaner, more orderly, more peaceful. When students came to him with questions, his answers penetrated deeper than lengthy lectures from other teachers. He seemed to accomplish more while appearing to do less, and this paradox drove everyone mad trying to understand it. One autumn afternoon, a senior monk named Chen couldn't contain his curiosity any longer. He found Master Hui Neng sitting beneath a ginkgo tree, simply watching the golden leaves dance in the wind. Chen approached and asked directly, "Master Hui, I must know your secret. You move so slowly, yet your work surpasses ours. You seem to do half as much, yet achieve twice the results. How is this possible?" Master Hui Neng smiled and gestured toward the stream that flowed past the monastery. "Tell me, Brother Chen, does the water rush to reach the ocean?" Chen looked at the stream, watching its steady, unhurried flow. "No, Master, it does not rush." "And yet, does it always arrive?" "Yes, Master, it always reaches the sea." Hui Neng nodded slowly. "The water teaches us the way of non-striving. It does not force itself over rocks. It does not fight against the banks. It simply flows, following the natural path, moving with gravity rather than against it. And in this way, it is both gentle and unstoppable, It carves canyons through mountains, not through force, but through presence and persistence. This conversation points us toward one of the most misunderstood teachings in all of Buddhism, a principle that the Buddha himself spoke of repeatedly, but that our modern minds struggle to grasp. It's called non-striving, or in Sanskrit, anabhoga. And before you think this means doing nothing or giving up on your goals, let me be very clear. Non-striving is not laziness. It's not passivity. It's not an excuse to avoid hard work. In fact, it might be the most demanding practice you'll ever undertake, because it requires you to completely transform your relationship with effort itself. The Buddha taught about this in the Anapanasati Sutta, the discourse on mindful breathing. He said, "There is effort without strain, alertness without tension." Think about that for a moment. Effort without strain, alertness without tension. This is the heart of non-striving. You're not avoiding work. You're not being careless or indifferent. You're simply removing the layer of anxious forcing that actually makes you less effective. In the Dhammapada, one of the most beloved Buddhist texts, we find this verse: "Just as a solid rock is not shaken by the storm, even so the wise are not affected by praise or blame." This steadiness, this unshakable quality, comes from non-striving. When you're not desperately pushing for results, not anxiously attached to outcomes, not forcing your way through life, you become like that rock. Stable, grounded, effective. The Dalai Lama speaks about this often in his teachings. He says, "When we are motivated by compassion and wisdom, the results of our actions benefit everyone, not just our individual selves or some immediate convenience. When we are able to recognize and forgive ignorant actions of the past, we gain strength to constructively solve the problems of the present." Notice what he's pointing to here. When we act from a place of wisdom rather than desperate striving, our actions become more effective, not less. We solve problems constructively rather than frantically. Let me take you deeper into Master Hui Neng's story, because what happened next reveals the practical application of this teaching. After their conversation by the stream, Chen began observing Hui Neng more carefully. He noticed that when Hui Neng swept the courtyard, he wasn't thinking about the next task. He wasn't mentally racing ahead to lunch, to afternoon meditation, to evening chores. Each sweep of the broom received his complete attention. The bristles touching stone, the sound of leaves gathering, the rhythm of the movement. He was utterly, completely present with sweeping. And here's what Chen realized. When Hui Neng finally finished sweeping, the courtyard was truly clean. Chen and the other monks would often have to go back and re-sweep areas they'd missed in their rushing. They'd been so focused on finishing quickly that they'd done the job poorly, which meant doing it again, which meant actually spending more time than Hui Neng. Their rushing made them slower. Their striving made them less effective. This is exactly what happens in our modern lives. We rush through conversations, half listening while mentally composing our response, or thinking about our next appointment. Then we misunderstand what was said and have to have the conversation again. We hurry through our work, making careless mistakes that require time-consuming fixes. We push ourselves through exhaustion, then get sick and lose days or weeks to recovery. Our striving is making us slower. Our forcing is making us less productive. We're so busy running that we don't notice we're on a treadmill. The great Zen master Shunryu Suzuki addressed this beautifully. He said, "The most important thing is to find out what is the most important thing." When you're in constant striving mode, you lose the ability to discern what actually matters. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels like it needs your immediate attention. You're reactive rather than responsive. You're driven by anxiety rather than guided by wisdom. There's a famous Zen story about a student who came to a master and said, "I want to achieve enlightenment. I will work harder than any student you've ever had. I will meditate 20 hours a day if needed. Just tell me how long it will take." The master replied, 10 years. The student said, "But what if I work twice as hard?" The master said, 20 years. The student, confused and frustrated, asked, "Why does working harder make it take longer?" The master smiled and said, "When you have one eye on the goal, you only have one eye on the path." This story cuts right to the core of why striving sabotages us. When we're obsessively focused on the outcome, when we're desperately attached to achieving our goals, we're not fully present with the actual work. We're divided, fragmented, and in that fragmentation, we lose power, we lose clarity, we lose effectiveness. The Buddha taught extensively about this through the concept of the middle way. He'd tried extreme asceticism, pushing his body to the edge of death through harsh practices, and found that it didn't lead to awakening. He'd also lived a life of luxury and ease in his youth, and knew that didn't lead to awakening either. The middle way isn't some weak compromise between these extremes. It's a completely different approach. It's effort without force, practice without desperation, action without attachment. In the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha describes the 4 foundations of mindfulness, and in each one, he emphasizes this quality of clear observation without grasping. He says to observe the body in the body, feelings in feelings, mind in mind, phenomena in phenomena. Not trying to change what you observe, not forcing it to be different. Just seeing clearly, and from that clear seeing, wisdom arises naturally. Right action emerges without striving. Practical applications for modern life. Let's bring this into your actual life right now. Think about something you're currently pushing hard to achieve. Maybe it's a career goal. Maybe it's a relationship you're trying to force into being. Maybe it's a creative project that feels like you're dragging it uphill. Maybe it's even your spiritual practice, which you're approaching with the same aggressive striving that you bring to everything else. Now notice how your body feels when you think about this goal. Is there tension? Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders hunched? Is your breath shallow? That physical tension is the signal of striving. That's force. That's the quality of energy that actually pushes your goal further away. The Taoist sage Lao Tzu, whose teachings deeply influenced Zen Buddhism, wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Look around you. Trees don't strain to grow. Rivers don't force their way to the ocean. Birds don't anxiously practice flying. Seeds don't worry about becoming flowers. Everything in nature moves with a quality of effortless effort. And here's the crucial point. Humans are part of nature. We're not separate from it. We're designed to work the same way. But we've forgotten. We've been conditioned by a culture that glorifies hustle, that equates worth with productivity, that measures success by exhaustion. Master Thich Nhat Hanh, the beloved Vietnamese Zen teacher, often spoke about walking meditation as a practice of non-striving. He'd say, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet, not rushing to get somewhere, not treating walking as just a means to an end, but walking as a complete action in itself, each step worthy of your full attention, each step an opportunity to be fully alive." He taught that when you walk this way, you're not trying to get anywhere, yet you always arrive exactly where you need to be. This same principle applies to everything. When you eat, just eat. When you work, fully work. When you rest, truly rest. The problem isn't activity itself. The problem is doing things while simultaneously being somewhere else in your mind. That's striving. That's the anxious, fragmented quality that exhausts you and diminishes your effectiveness. After Chen's realization about Master Hui Neng's sweeping, he decided to experiment. For 1 week, he would try to bring complete presence to just one daily task. He chose preparing tea, something he did every afternoon. Previously, he'd rush through it, his mind already on the next thing. But for this week, he would be fully present, feeling the warmth of the pot, hearing the water pour, watching the leaves unfurl, smelling the subtle fragrances, tasting with full attention. At the end of the week, something unexpected happened. Not only was his tea better, richer, more satisfying, but he found that this one practice of presence began seeping into other areas of his life. He started naturally being more present in conversations. His meditation became deeper. His work became more focused. By practicing non-striving in one small area, he'd begun to transform his entire way of being. This is how the practice works. You don't have to revolutionize your entire life overnight. That would just be more striving. Instead, you choose one thing, one daily activity where you practice bringing complete presence without force. Maybe it's your morning coffee, maybe it's washing dishes, maybe it's the first 10 minutes of work. You're not trying to achieve anything. You're not performing. You're simply practicing being fully here with what is. The Diamond Sutra, one of the most profound texts in Mahayana Buddhism, contains this powerful line. Let your mind come forth without fixing it anywhere. This is the practice. Coming forth, being active, engaging with life, but without that quality of grasping, without fixing your mind on desperate attachment to outcomes. You have intentions. You take action. But you hold it all lightly, like a bird holds the wind beneath its wings, supported but not grasping. The Dalai Lama tells a story about a Western businessman who came to him exhausted and burned out, seeking advice. The businessman said, "Your Holiness, I work 16-hour days. I've achieved everything I set out to achieve, but I feel empty and exhausted. What should I do?" The Dalai Lama laughed warmly and said, "Maybe try working 8 hours and sleeping 8 hours and see if the world ends." The businessman was shocked. He said, "But I'll fall behind. I'll lose my competitive edge." The Dalai Lama replied, "Or perhaps you'll finally catch up to yourself." Catching up to yourself. What a beautiful phrase. When you're constantly striving, constantly racing ahead, you leave yourself behind. There's a gap between where your body is and where your mind is. You're fragmented, scattered, divided. Non-striving is about closing that gap, about bringing your whole self to this present moment, And from that wholeness comes power, clarity, and effectiveness that striving can never achieve. Zen Master Dogen, the founder of Soto Zen, taught, "To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by the 10,000 things." Notice the progression here. First comes study, which requires effort and attention. But then comes forgetting, which isn't more effort, but a release of effort. And from that release comes enlightenment, comes understanding, comes realization. You can't force enlightenment. You can't strive your way to awakening. You can only create the conditions and then get out of the way. Back at the monastery, Master Hui Neng's example began to shift the entire culture. Slowly, other monks started to notice the quality of his presence. They saw that he was happy, genuinely, deeply content, not in a passive, checking out way, but in a vibrant, fully alive way. He wasn't stressed about deadlines. He wasn't comparing himself to others. He wasn't anxiously grasping for recognition or achievement. Yet his life was clearly working, more than working, flourishing. One young monk asked him, "Master, don't you have any ambitions? Any goals?" Hui Neng replied, "I have intentions, I have direction, but I hold them like I hold water, with open palms, not clenched fists. If I try to grasp water tightly, it spills through my fingers. But if I hold my hands open, the water rests in my palms, and I can drink when I'm thirsty." This is the practice of non-striving with goals. You don't abandon your dreams. You don't give up on growth. You simply change the quality of how you hold them, from desperate grasping to open-handed intention, from anxious forcing to aligned action, from striving to flowing. The Buddha spoke about this in terms of right effort, one of the aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right effort isn't maximum effort. It's not about pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's appropriate effort, wise effort, effort that matches the actual needs of the situation rather than being driven by anxiety or ego. Sometimes right effort is intense and focused. Sometimes right effort is rest and restoration. The wisdom is in knowing which is which. There's a beautiful teaching from the Zen tradition about archery. The master archer doesn't try to hit the target. The master archer becomes one with the bow, the arrow, the target, and the release. In that unity, the arrow finds the target naturally. But if you're striving, if you're trying too hard, if you're tense and anxious about hitting the target, you create separation. Your tension throws off your aim. Your trying makes you miss. This applies to everything. When you're trying too hard to be liked, people feel the desperation and pull away. When you're forcing creativity, your work feels contrived and flat. When you're pushing too hard in your practice, you create resistance rather than opening. Non-striving isn't about not trying. It's about removing the layer of anxiety and force that actually interferes with natural effectiveness. As Master Hui Neng grew older, his reputation spread beyond the monastery. People would travel from distant villages to meet the monk who never rushed. They'd expect to find someone slow, passive, perhaps a bit otherworldly and impractical. Instead, they'd find a man of tremendous vitality and presence. When he spoke with you, you felt like you were the only person in the world. When he worked, his hands moved with practiced grace and efficiency. When he laughed, which was often, it came from deep in his belly. One visitor asked him, "Master, what's the secret to your happiness?" Hui Neng paused, considering the question carefully. Then he said, "I've stopped arguing with reality. I've stopped fighting with what is. When it rains, I let it rain. When it's sunny, I enjoy the sun. When work needs doing, I do it fully. When rest is needed, I rest completely. I'm no longer at war with life, so life is no longer at war with me." The Dhammapada teaches, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. But here's the subtle point. It's not about positive thinking or forcing yourself to think certain thoughts. It's about the quality of your mind. A mind in striving mode is contracted, tense, grasping. A mind in non-striving is spacious, relaxed, clear. From that clarity, right action arises naturally. So how do you begin practicing this? Start with your breath. Right now, as you're watching this, notice your breathing. Are you trying to breathe, or is breathing happening naturally? You don't have to force your lungs to work. You don't have to remind your heart to beat. These vital functions happen through non-striving. Your body knows how to live. Now extend that trust to other areas. Maybe your creativity knows how to create. Maybe your relationships know how to develop. Maybe your life knows how to unfold. Your job isn't to force every outcome. Your job is to show up fully, act from wisdom, and then trust the process. Try this practice. Choose one routine activity today. Maybe it's washing your hands, making your bed, or walking to your car. For just that one activity, practice complete presence without hurrying. Notice every sensation. Be fully there, not trying to do it perfectly, not performing for some imaginary audience, just being completely present with what is. That's non-striving. That's the practice. And if you do this once a day, every day, you'll begin to notice something shifting. The quality of your presence will deepen. The constant background anxiety will start to ease. You'll find yourself more effective without trying so hard. The great thing about this practice is that it's completely portable. You can practice non-striving while sitting in traffic, while standing in line, while listening to your child tell a story. Any moment can become a moment of practice. Any activity can become an opportunity to be fully present without force. Master Hui Neng lived to be very old, and on his final day, the monks gathered around his bed. The young ones expected profound final words, some ultimate teaching. Hui Neng looked at them all with great love and said simply, "Don't waste your life rushing toward the next moment. This moment is all you ever have. Be here completely. That's the secret. That's everything." The Buddha's final words, according to tradition, were, "Strive on with diligence." Some people hear this as a call to constant striving, to endless pushing and effort. But look more closely. The Pali word is apamadina, which is better translated as with heedfulness or with awareness. He wasn't saying strive desperately. He was saying stay awake, stay present, keep practicing awareness. And awareness is not striving. Awareness is the opposite of striving. Awareness is simply seeing what is, without the need to force it to be different. Before we close, I want to leave you with a practice you can begin today. Tonight, before you sleep, take 5 minutes to sit quietly. Don't try to meditate. Don't try to achieve anything. Just sit. Notice your breath. Notice the sounds around you. Notice how your body feels. And if you notice your mind planning, worrying, or rushing toward tomorrow. Gently bring it back to this moment. Just this breath. Just this sensation. Just this sound. Practice being here without striving to be anywhere else. Do this for 5 minutes tonight, and tomorrow night, and the night after. This simple practice of non-striving will begin to transform how you move through your days. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to explore a different way of being in the world, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. We dive deep into Buddhist wisdom and practical applications for modern life. Share this video with someone who's exhausted from constant striving. Leave a comment below about your experience with rushing versus presence. And remember, you don't have to change everything at once. You just have to begin. One breath, one moment, one practice of presence. The monk who never rushed understood something essential. Life isn't a race to the finish line. It's an invitation to be fully alive right here, right now. When you stop rushing toward the next moment, you finally arrive in this one. And this one is all you ever really have. Don't waste it. Be here. Be whole. Be present. That's the path. That's the practice. That's how you live a life of depth, meaning, and genuine effectiveness without the exhaustion of constant striving. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Now go practice being fully alive